Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the State of MMA Today. I'm your host, Jeremy Roach. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you guys for all of your love and support for the past few episodes. I absolutely appreciate it. I believe we are on episode 6 now, 6 or 7, somewhere in there, so it's pretty awesome. So continuing forward. We are going to be changing a few different things up here on this show. We've been doing a lot of the fighter spotlights and the gym showcases. We're going to still kind of do that same-ish format. We're going to spread it out a little bit more. So we're still going to talk about some gyms and different things to showcase because I feel like breathing positivity here into the community. And I bring this up only for the fact of a certain different events that have happened this past few weeks. And I talked about it a little bit back at UFC 226, the breakdown, the hereafter of what happened with Brian Ortega. But before we get into all that and get into the episodes, we're going to start off with what we start off every single week, and that's going to be the gym showcase for you guys. So there you go, guys. Here it is. This is Integrated Trading Systems with my coach, Lee Dickinson, or former coach Lee Dickinson, back when I was in Michigan. This is where it all started and began for me in this small little area back here. So full garage, full weight room behind it. A lot of people out there in the MMA community have had their first gyms start out with something like this. So I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I mean when it is straight from the heart when I see stuff like this and when I talk about things like this. Coach Lee Dickinson still helping kids out there in the community, still breathing martial arts into the community and positivity and being a good role model in what a person should be like in and out of the octagon, in and out of training, and in life. And that is what's most important about any type of sport or action or thing that you're into. It doesn't matter if it's mixed martial arts that you love, if it's NASCAR racing, if it's basket weaving, whatever you're doing, do it well and do it with passion and do it with positivity. Don't be negative to other people because you're not the best or they're not the best. We all start off somewhere. We all were the worst at one point in time. No one starts off amazing. You don't just step in there. You might be gifted and talented, but that's all cool. You could be super gifted and talented, and you go up with a guy who's got a bunch of experience, and you're just not as good. Because experience means a lot. Experience takes time. And I feel like those role models help you build as you experience. You look at somebody and go, that's what I want to be like, or that's how I should act when I'm out in public, or when this confrontation happens, or where this happens, or whatever may go on in your life. And this is what right here behind for me has happened, guys. The Integrated Trading Systems, Lee Dickinson. I'll put the link down to his Facebook. You can reach out there. I don't know how open his class schedule is or what he's taking at this time, but you can always reach out to the man. He'll always respond to you. You need advice, he's going to be there to help you guys out. You want to put your kid in a class or for self-defense or anti-bullying or just maybe some strength training or rehabilitation, because he knows everything about rehabilitation. You can check out his other videos of different stretching maneuvers and mechanics of your own body to go through and what's going to be good for stabilization, what may be good to prevent risk of injury. That he knows everything. He's got sports medicine background, chiropractic background, all of these different things. So he knows what he's talking about. Go check him out, guys. It's going to be behind here. The links are going to be below after the episode. Definitely appreciate you guys and your response. We've had great response from the fighter spotlights, especially with Luis Pena. Always shout out to Violent Bob Ross about him communicating, and we've recently talked to Joe Giannetti on Twitter. There's some different guys we're going to start bringing up here. This particular week is not going to have a spotlight. I'm going to talk about the fight coming up on Sunday, and I'm going to spotlight a few people to watch. Some guys to watch and see where they go. Because I don't want to oversaturate with, because you only can come up with so many people because there's 500 people in the UFC, let's say, just about 500 people. There's only so many people you can spotlight as the next up-and-coming thing or the next fighter to watch without it completely blowing up in your face. And I really don't care if it does, because I think people's potential is always growing. And it's not necessarily like he was recently on Below the Belt. You know, you got Brendan Schaub here. Tyson Pedro. He has so much potential in his division, in the light heavyweight division, to grow and to be better. And it's the experience. He doesn't quite have it yet. And you're going to see this experience start to come around him where he's able to get in there with some veterans like he has and been put in situations he's never seen in training, which is really good for him. So some guy like him, I want to spotlight, but I'm going to give him a little bit. And he's already gaining his momentum. He's already pretty prominent in the UFC, so you let him do his own thing. He's doing really well. but I'm going to showcase some other fighters or spotlight some other fighters here later on. What I wanted to delve into a little bit today, guys, was a little bit of a recap from 226, what happened with Brian Ortega. If you guys didn't check it out, Max Holloway had to pull out of the fight. He's still negotiating. I don't think he's gotten any money from the UFC from his training camp all the way up until 2 days before the fight when the other guy pulled out. And then they said, well, the UFC said, well, it's not our job to give you money for something you didn't do. We gave you a fight and you didn't want to take it. Well, he got a championship fight. And of course, if you don't give me another championship fight, I'm not going to take it. And he's already come out on the record and said, hey, if Max Holloway can't fight within a year, which means he has to be stripped of the title, I'll fight anyone else for the title. I just don't want some crap. They were going to try to make a Jeremy Stevens versus Brian Ortega for the interim title. I didn't think that was right. He didn't think that was right. You're starting to see a shift of these guys pick what's right for them over what's right for the UFC. And this is going to happen more and more and more with Dana White acting the way he's been acting. Attacking Brendan Schaub when no research was done. That would be like someone out coming here and attacking me about doing a fighter spotlight and saying those are negative when they haven't even watched one when they're all positive. You didn't even say anything about this certain person when he was talking about it at all. It was about a totally different fighter. So it's kind of funny how he can go and do this. And he's done this now with Francis. And he's attacked Francis's ego and the person he is and blah, blah, blah. Not building him up. Listen, I get it. We're fans. And everybody else, let's say, I'm a broadcaster of sorts and a entertainer and to give you news on this. So I'm an analyst of the sport. I'm going to be a little bit harsher, maybe a little nicer here and there. But as fans, we can say certain things. As owners of the company, if I would never come out on my show and say, the State of MMA Today sucks. Because it's not good for my brand or my business. It's just not smart. So if other fighters are coming out and saying the UFC sucks and it's the worst thing ever, yeah, he's got to be mean and crack down. But that's not the case that's happening here. People are starting to not want to help out or cover or jump in or take fights at short notice. The only ones that are wanting to do that are the ones that are in these situations where they need the spotlight. And they're only needing that spotlight is because the UFC is not giving them that platform or helping them find that platform. And it was very, very apparent with this stuff that was going on lately with Dana White saying these things. And I don't know if that's the way to grow the sport, is to be negative or to just shit on your fighters, for lack of a better word, and to demoralize them in this way. Because you could have went and taken it off and been like, hey, Francis, you know what? This has happened to a few of our fighters before. This is what they've done. This might help out for you. Are you happy with your camp? Would you like to try somewhere else? We've got all this connections. We can set you up here. What do you feel went wrong? Let's talk to you. Let's get you under the wing of a vet. Let's bring in a heavyweight vet that's not fighting. The UFC has kind of tainted their reputation with other fighters. Like you look at guys that would love to come in probably and be a mentor, like Frank Mir, who they've kind of sullied the relationship with, or a Josh Barnett, who's out there doing his own thing, who would be a great guy to pair up with a guy and be like, hey, you have some issues with like maybe mental security, or we'll call it PTSD, but it's not that. It's a stressor of a fight that happened to you and you don't want to fail and there's a lot on you and you're not knowing how to deal with that pressure. You need a guy to help you. You need some people to help you, a community, a therapist, or whatever it may be. Kenny Florian can fucking help him. Kenny Florian could help him because he's been through all of this ups and downs and going to different weight classes and trying to get the title and getting defeats and coming back. You got that guy in your back pocket. Like, this is where my point of last show is Fighters Union. Fighters Union is such a thing that the UFC needs in its life. It absolutely needs it. As a business, they need to open up and have a Fighters Union or some sort of collective where you can go as a fighter seeking help or guidance. Because, yeah, you might have your gym, and everyone says, well, you got your gym, you've got AKA and Alpha Male, and you could go to all these guys. And they're all former fighters, and that's all well and good, and that's very good. Some of them aren't the best. So you look at Uriah Faber, great role model for his guys. Maybe he doesn't have the most perfect fighting style and technique-wise for everybody to learn after because the UFC is growing and evolving, but it still does work very well. That's besides the point. The business acumen of this man is much, much higher. Getting this group of fighters together, buying houses in the same corner, multiple gym openings, branding a company, starting his own ventures afterwards. All of these things are what other fighters need to worry about. You've got Sugar Sean O'Malley, who we've talked about in here before, who's gone out of his way. Now he's part of Optic Gaming. He's streaming on Twitch. He's starting to brand himself. And that's what I think every fighter needs to do, is start branding themselves. And the best advice I can give you to any fighter out there, and this is where I've taken my own advice in this and doing what I'm doing right now. Doesn't matter how many views we get, where we go in the future. I'm doing this because I enjoy it and I love the UFC. Do something. I know you love the UFC and you love fighting, but brand yourself outside of the UFC in anything else that you love doing. Your personality, whatever you like to do outside of it. And if fighting is your passion and that's your love, we're gonna see it. We're going to see it in the way you talk about it, get on shows, maybe get on a podcast, talk to different people, start your own podcast, be out there. Maybe get your own YouTube channel. You don't like being the star? Find some intern, find some fan, find somebody. This is what I'm talking about. You have to find your own things. Where the UFC could give you the ability, not the funding, but put you in the right direction. Be like, hey, you're going to go talk to this group of people. You need to talk to Brendan Schaub. Go talk to Schaub, see how he did it. Oh, he met this person. Okay, well, just like happened to Brian Ortega, he had Robert Downey Jr. reach out to him about his foundation. You start talking about it, you start bringing your passion out there, and people start seeing it, they're going to reach out to you. You're going to get some fans. You're going to get some traction. You can do that locally as well. Your local community is going to support you. And you can grow that by showing your personality and your love for certain things. There needs to be some help. A fighters union would be absolutely perfect for everyone. Absolutely perfect. You have people in Australia, like Mark Hunt, that are helping his little group in his community. And you have people back here in the United States, where I'm from, that need to start doing that. And we need to stop belittling other people for what they're doing and the route they're taking. Let them do their own thing. It may not be for you. Like Colby Covington. We all know Colby Covington's stuff's an act. But it's hilarious. And we tune in because we're entertained. It doesn't need to be super real. If I can tell it's fake, it's one thing. But he goes out there and he just fights. And he does what he needs to do. And then he goes and talks crap, and it's hilarious. Because he can do it well. If you go out there and I think we fight because you suck. Don't do that. Don't do that. Think about, okay, so what they should be getting told is, okay, so you're not good on camera. All right, that's awesome. That's cool. That's whatever. You're not very well spoken. You get shy. What can we do to change that? What can we do to make you more marketable or yourself more marketable? That's not what you want to think about. Yeah, you want to be more marketable, but what can you do to better yourself as a person in all reality? Maybe become a little bit more well-versed in your community. Maybe talk about some different things that you can do to increase your vocabulary, increase what you're talking about, make it you seem a little bit more comfortable, or instead fall back on the Chad Mendes route. Let's say Chad Mendes fell back on a passion, hunting, and he went to that, and he can freely talk. He may not be the most articulate man all the time, but when you hear him talk about something like that, it doesn't matter how articulate he is. It matters the fact that he has that passion, and people can see that and they'll follow that because they love seeing that. They absolutely love it. So the pivot of the UFC to where it is now and where it should go is going to be huge very soon. I think it should go in this direction of we're over in WWE land. We're in this, let's make fake stuff. Let's go blah, 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 blah. And real fighters hate that shit. Real fighters dislike it. They don't want anything to do with it. Nate and Nick Diaz, Cowboy Cerrone, all that. This is fighting. And yeah, it's entertainment. But let's move it over. If you can get Donald Cerrone, hooked up with Budweiser, maybe Bass Pro Shops, Gander Mountain, all that, and he has this certain following of fans that may not follow everyone. They might not like the style bender, but you know who might like the style bender? The anime community, the nerd community, because he's got that name, the style bender. It's from that sort of community. You see his style and it's flashy and it's crazy. I forget who did the Kamehameha, or like Roxanne Modafferi, who does that. Like, send her to Comic-Con, send her to TwitchCon, send her to this, to these different things. Get her talking about this in another community, like Demetrius Johnson's talking about it in his Twitch streams and with Xbox. He maybe doesn't translate as well because he's a little bit more bro-y, but he still translates super well. Look at his Twitch streams. Look at his videos. Mighty Mouse Gaming. Help them brand themselves. So you don't have to fork out the money anymore as a company and go, oh, look, we're bringing you this ability and you're able to do it on your own and bring your own income in. That's what we're here for. You can bring all this extra income in and all these extra fan bases, and by building up those people and the things that they can do, it's only going to make the UFC shine that much more. So you take the NFL's route, where I just saw on YouTube the Cleveland Browns have their own little office manager ad where you see Jarvis Landry. If you don't know, he's a new wide receiver there. And you got Baker Mayfield, you got this and that, all doing certain things. Those are fun little things you can do to promote your brand or promote the fighters. UFC can do that. UFC Performance Institute. They joked about Francis running around there. Do a skit. You got Francis in the one office joking about something. You got so-and-so over here. You got so-and-so over here. That's only going to make the UFC look better. I get happy when I see that from the Cleveland Browns. Oh, that's so cool. That's too cool that they're doing that. It makes me want to root for the Cleveland Browns. So it makes me want to root for the UFC and watch the UFC and talk about it when I see, like, oh, wow, Brian Ortega. They're helping him out with the Brian Ortega Foundation. You know, he's in touch with this. He's doing that. But instead, they're talking about not paying him. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about not paying a fighter now in the media. And we're talking about Dana White saying that a commentator and an analyst who's been out of the UFC, a former UFC employee, is a moron and an idiot. That doesn't do anything for the company or your brand whatsoever. You may win a few fans here and there, like, that's whatever. But most people are like, do I really want to follow or support something that's got this guy running it? And I'm not saying you got to take away Dana completely from the show. He's still a great promoter. He's still a great personality. But you can't have him handling every day-to-day business with the fighters. You can't have, they got to go to a group. You need to have a fighters association that you can go to and be like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what needs to happen. Period. Okay, cool. We're there for you. We got you. Let's go on. And they can talk you down a little bit. Like, hey, you know what? You got to see what your fault in the situation is too. You didn't do this right, or you didn't do this right. So, of course, they're not going to give you this, this, and this, but we're going to get this for you. All right? So next time, now we know. It's educating both sides. And you don't see that education process. There's a divide. There's Dana White in his way and everything else. And if you're not, he's just not on your side. He's only there for you when you're there for him, or if you do for him. And then when it's not good for him, you're out of the picture. It's a little crazy. It's a little weird. So that's why this whole thing is positive. The background behind me is a positive message and reinforcement that it doesn't matter where you come from. You can find people in a community that are like-minded as you and will help build and lift you up. And those are the people that you need to be around in life and in the UFC. If the UFC is doing what they're doing now, and can completely do that. So let's take this a little bit. Let's take the NFL. I like bringing up the NFL because I'm really into football. I love the sport. And then you have the UFC. On one hand, you have Dana White, who talks down about his fighters, who belittles them, who tells them that they need to be doing more, that talks crap on their veterans of the sport, their alumni, for doing things outside the sport. And then you have the NFL, who has Roger Goodell, who I don't know if you can find a negative comment about anyone ever in the NFL. He's never come out and said Juju Schuster-Smith is a joke and he is doing too much and he's too flashy. Or he never said that Terrell Owens is a garbage wide receiver and he should never come back and play in the NFL. You want to know why? It's not good for the NFL, and he'd be fired. If Paul Tagliabue did this, or Tagliabue, forget how to say his name now, did this at his time, fired, gone, you're out of here, see ya, goodbye. Think about that. Think about that when you look at this and you want this sport to be something larger. It's stagnant for a reason. You have a negative man preaching negative things. I love the UFC. I want it to be huge. I want it to be the UFC and the NFL and the NBA and the MLB. They're huge. I want them to be giant together. And I see good things. And you see celebrities reaching out. You see other interests coming into the sport. And they want to get to know them and promote and do these things and cross-reference some of their things. You got the comedians reaching out to them. You've got actors, actresses, musicians. Do your thing. You got Stipe out there that's just wrecking stuff being a firefighter in this community. And they talk about it. They drop it here and there. Get him on a show. Get him on the Discovery Channel. Let's put him out there for this. Let's show you what you can do. Or DC, he's about to retire, okay? What's the retirement plan for DC coming out of the UFC? What is he going to do? He's going to be an analyst probably, maybe. But not for the UFC. It's going to be for ESPN or something. They need to start looking at what they can do for their own. And when you start doing that, I think their own are going to start doing more for them. I'm going to want to fill in 2 weeks' notice for the UFC. If I know I'm going to be compensated, I'm going to get paid well, I'm going to get taken care of, and they're going to promote me, and the things that I enjoy are also going to get promoted. Right? I'm more willing to do it. And it doesn't need to be that need to give the fighters everything, and it needs to be this open just river or gate of people wanting, oh, I need this, and why I need that, I need this, and da-da-da-da-da. You got to set boundaries, yeah. You got to set rules and regulations on what you can and can't do and what's right and what's wrong. We all know that. But if someone's into something, if they're covered head to toe in tattoos, instead of coming out and calling them a tattooed freak, you might want to get them on Inked or some other tattoo venture. Show on History Channel. Get them on somebody's podcast. Because even if they only have 20,000 viewers, it's more viewers, more eyes on a certain guy, and that guy fights in the UFC and brings eyes to the UFC. Right? That's how things work. Bus drives by with a Gatorade bottle on it, and I'm thirsty. I might want to get Gatorade. Gatorade gives me a deal on buying Gatorade. I might be more prone to buying Gatorade. They're doing things for me. I'm seeing these things. It's a weird reference, I know. If I'm going to my job, if I came here and I had an employee with me and there was another co-host, and every day that co-host came on and I told him he dressed like shit, he looked like shit, he smelled like shit, and then one day he came in and brought me a coffee and I was like, thanks, man. You're doing awesome. You're doing great things. Right? That would feel like when you're only doing things for me, I'm nice to you, but any other day, I'm just a shithead. That's kind of how the UFC, I don't want to say UFC, that's kind of how Dana operates with things. And you're seeing it affect all these fighters and different fights and people wanting to fight and not wanting to fight and contract disputes. There wouldn't be so much negativity in the volatile market if there wasn't this figure saying these things that don't need to be said. You don't need to be saying negative things about your fighter unless he's talking crap about the UFC. If someone came out and said the UFC is the worst place to work for and I don't ever want to be there again, goodbye, see ya, go somewhere else. But they're not doing that. They're not diminishing your product by any because they don't want to fight on 2 days' notice. You're diminishing your product by talking crap about them wanting to better themselves in their career and do what's best for them. And then you don't want to pay him, so you make it look even worse. None of that is good publicity. And you're lucky that right now the UFC is in such a state that you're not in the eyes of every single thing in the world. You come like the NFL, and if Roger Goodell made a move like that, we'd be talking about it for months. Roger Goodell farts wrong, and ESPN picks it up and goes, I'm pretty sure Roger Goodell farted on Tyron Smith, and that's just frowned upon, and it's just disrespectful, and blah, blah, blah. How are we going to do that? It's a joke, obviously, but you know what I mean. Shout out to Tyron Smith, left tackle, I'm pretty sure, with Dallas Cowboys. But bear with me on this, guys. Come on now. I need to see some more positivity out there. Any fighter, anywhere, at any time. If you need help, if you need a platform, I will do anything in my power to help you. I'll retweet the crap out of you, and I'll just annoy the shit out of anyone who you want to get in front of to help promote you. If I believe it's warranted and you come from a positive place of passion. I'm there. If you want to hate on somebody, wrong show. Wrong show. We're here for the positivity, guys. We're here for the fun. We're here for the excitement. We're here for the love of MMA. Oh, man. We're losing that a little bit. We're losing it out there. And I don't want to. Don't want to. Enough negativity on that. Absolutely over it. I want to see a change. I want to see some positiveness come out of this. I want to see some positivity. Anyone out there, if any fighter knows somebody who needs help promoting themselves, wants a little platform and a voice, I got you. We'll find it. We'll get you there. Okay? I'm always willing to help anyone out. Shout out to me on Twitter. Shout out to me here, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be. If you guys, we'll turn this into a thing. If you like this, you want more, like button, subscribe, hit the bell. Let me know. Comment. Tell me some stuff. What's going on out there? Enough of that. It's over. We're moving on. We're going to move over to the fight this weekend. If you guys did not know, there is a UFC fight night live in Hamburg, Germany. Shout out to Hamburg. A lot of good fights going on here. A lot of weird ones in my eyes now that I'm looking at the rankings. So I'm going to start... Okay, I'm going to start with one pet peeve again. I don't know why I have to keep saying this again to the UFC. There are 5 blank faces on their fight card when you go and click on it on their website. You cannot do that. You can't. It's bad. It's really bad. If the NFL had a running back, second string or not, on a roster and had no picture, they would get so much crap. Why? How hard is it to get a picture of these people? Especially when 2 of them are in your main card. This is you're supposed to be getting me to want to watch this, and I don't even know who the heck this dude is because I can't see his face. There's 5 of them. 5 of them. Step up your game. Let's go. This is not 2000. This is 2018. This is 2018. Let's go. Come on. All right. So we're going to look at the prelims here. And looking through the prelims, there's nothing that's going to jump out at you right off your first glance. To me, I have a major fight in there that I absolutely love. And it's one of my highlight fights for us. So we'll move up to that one. It's the second to last, or let's say it's the co-headline of the prelims on FS1. Those start at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Super early over here. It's like tuning in for a football game on Sunday for you guys. So do it. Tune into this. It's free. Nothing. No pay. Free. So, my big spotlight, Emil Meek or Emil Mek. I don't know exactly the pronunciation. M-E-E-K. I'm going to call it Meek because I like it, but I think it's Mek. Against Bartosz Fabinski. Okay, and I watched him his last fight or last loss with Carl Usman, and he looked really really good. He looked like the more and more I watched it, the more and more I was frustrated with Usman, his personality, the way he fights, his actions. I'm just not getting the good best vibes from that guy in the first place. But that he's got that Khabib Ben Askren grab and grind style of fighting. And I don't think that Emil was ready for it. He started training when he's 21, he's 29, he's got 8 years. He's not probably fully like fit out for this yet. I think he looked really, really good, and he's an awkward brawler. And in this fight, it's a 9-2 versus a 13-2, one Poland, one Norway. You've got guys that have a 78% and Emil Meek, 78% KO, TKO, 62 on Fabinski. You're looking at a stand-up fight. I think we had takedowns defended 100% from Fabinski, and you have 54% from Meek. It's pretty good. This is probably going to be a stand-up brawl. My money's on Mac. His nickname is Valhalla. He looks straight out of Vikings. He looks like a Vikings character. My support is behind him. I think that he has a future. In the next 3 to 4 years, you're going to see him as a big contender. A big, big contender. And I believe it's their 205 weight class. Is it 205? Or is it 185? It could be 185. I could be talking out my arse. Let me double check here real quick. Or is it even 170? Where's Mr. Usman? Where is he? Well, oh, there we go. He was welterweight. Wow. Wow, 170. These guys. They must zoom in super far. Look huge. Huge. For 170. Absolutely huge. Yeah, so go and check that fight out, guys. That's early on in the day. Then we're going to move on to the main card. It sucks because Alan Jouban was supposed to fight Roberts in this one, I believe. So that goes away. And you don't really have an early fight in the FS1 main card fight card. But the next one that I'm going to be highlighting here is better for the heavyweight division. You got number 9 versus number 13, Marcin Tybura. Poland. Trying to learn the name. Got Polish roommates here trying to help me out with pronouncing these guys. And you got Stefan Struve. Everybody knows Stefan Struve, 32-10. His nickname's the Skyscraper. It's hilarious in this UFC side-by-side stuff they got here. Because one's 84 inches tall and the other one's 75. They have 10 inches difference, pretty much, almost a foot difference. And in this picture, they're the same height, and Tybura looks bigger. So, these pictures aren't the greatest for everybody in here. My money's on Tybura. Tybura is going to be the guy to beat for me in this one. I think that he wins this one and he becomes a staple in the heavyweight division. I think he's got a few fights underneath him now. He's got a little bit more experience. He's got to get underway and he's got to grow, and then you can see him in contention here later on. Very big, very big potential from this young man from Poland. I definitely would spotlight him as a fight to watch. So you've got Meek and Tybura, number 9 guy. Meek's unranked. Watch for him to jump up, especially since he did fight. He jumped up and fought Usman, who is ranked number 6. He lost, but God bless him. Oh, that was a close fight in my mind that he could have won, defending a little bit more takedowns or doing something the right way. He got ground out and got frustrated and let it get to him a little bit too much. You move up, and you got the co-main event and main event cards. You got Glover Teixeira versus Corey Anderson. This fight is just odd, in my opinion. Teixeira has done next to nothing impressive lately. He's ranked really high. Corey Anderson has had some chin issues. He only's got 4 losses, but he's done relatively well. He's in this I'm learning how to do things phase, transitioning from grappling to MMA. We'll see where this goes. This is a testament to if he wins this fight, he jumps up in the rankings. Does he deserve a title shot? No. But he's up there in the talk. No spotlight of this one. Still a really good fight. It could go either way. Glover could knock him out very handily with his boxing. We'll see, because his ground game is no joke either. Black belt in jiu-jitsu, super amazing. So we'll see where this goes. I just don't think it's a great fight matchup-wise for Corey Anderson, but we'll see how he does. It could be a very good fight. And then you have the final fight on the card. No Modelo. Mauricio Shogun Hua, a legend, former champion, against Anthony Smith, Lionheart. I don't know if we talked about him before. I don't know how to feel about Anthony Smith. So I wanted to look at his age again just to see. He's 29, so he's the same age as me. He's got plenty of years left, but 29-13? It's a huge record. He's got more fights than Shogun, who's 24-10. Wouldn't have saw that coming, huh? The man is younger and has more fights. But I look down at his record, and it's I don't know, he beat Rashad Evans recently, and he's coming into this fight. I mean, really? I think Rashad he shouldn't even have fought that fight. He lost to Thiago Santos before that, who's, I think, ranked number 11. Let's pull it up. Thiago Santos. Who is ranked, scroll over, 13th in the middleweight division. So, I don't know. I mean, you're jumping over to fight Mauricio in the light heavyweight, so he's jumping up a weight class. Maybe this guy's got more knockout power there. He's trying to cement himself in this. But he lost to Thiago Santos in a lower division, so he's jumping up. He beat Hector Lombard, who has a horrible record in the UFC. Andrew Sanchez, nobody. Elvis, don't know, garbage there. He lost to Cesar Ferreira. He beat another guy, I couldn't tell you who he was, by unanimous decision. Lost to Hadra Gracie. Lost to Antonio Baraga Nito. Don't know who that is. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, is he really ready for a fight like this? Is this what's going on? He's got performance of the night, knockouts of the night. He's probably going to try to stand and bang with Shogun. See how Shogun's chin's doing. The reason why I think we all should root for Shogun in this fight is because I think what you're going to end up seeing is Shogun win this, fight DC for the light heavyweight title. DC retires after he goes on and fights Brock for the heavyweight. And then you have a vacant title, and then you have like a Gustafsson versus, let's check the rankings here in light heavyweight. It would be a Gustafsson versus either Volkan, a Gustafsson. I would like to see Volkan fight somebody else first. I think that Latifi's too high. I would like to see a few fights. Like Corey Anderson's going to fight Glover. You got the winner of that. So it starts opening up this division heavily. I don't know. So if Glover wins, this could be huge because that could be a Glover-Gustafsson rematch for the light heavyweight, especially if Shogun lost to DC. He wouldn't have that opportunity to jump back in right away. So you see the light heavyweight in a situation where you could see Gustafsson as champion. And if Gustafsson comes in and becomes champion, that leaves it open for a possible John Jones return if this whole USADA stuff works out for him, which I don't know. Now there's rumors of him bribing USADA. It just doesn't look good for John Jones. He just doesn't look good. More and more it's tainted, but it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. So there's a lot on the line in this fight card that's not really showcased. So Shogun wins, it's a possible DC match with him. He loses, that goes away, goes out the window. Then you're talking Alexander Gustafsson DC as the next light heavyweight fight because there's no one else. There's no one else. You could argue maybe Glover gets it if he beats Corey Anderson. But Alexander beat him recently, last year. So and it was fight of the night. So maybe you say they're not going to get it. They fight each other for the number one contendership. And then Daniel goes out and fights. God, he can't. Unless it's a rematch with Volkan. But who wants to see that? Volkan got destroyed. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I feel like it's got to be Alexander, or if Mauricio wins this, you pick Mauricio. You pick Shogun. You pick Shogun Hua. right? That's what you go with here. So there's the fight card for this weekend, guys. It's Sunday, July 22nd. It starts at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So here in Chicago for me, it's 1 o'clock. That's 11 a.m. Pacific. Really early in the day. Super easy to catch on a Sunday fun day. Make sure you guys are watching this stuff. I can't stress anymore how this could be. This could be really, really good for different divisions. Again, it's breeding some international eyes from this, because you have a lot of. I'm gonna go through. Let's see here. The first fight: China versus Poland. United States versus Siberia. England and the United States. So there's 2 U.S. fighters so far. Austria versus Russia. In this, or no, sorry, Austria versus USA. I don't know why it just doesn't say United States for this guy. It just says USA. That's so weird. Move forward. England, Germany. Norway, Poland. Germany, Bosnia. Germany, Congo. Germany, England. Poland, the Netherlands. Germany, Brazil. Brazil, US. Brazil, US. So you've got 4 US fighters on here and a bunch of people international. It's great for these international guys to showcase themselves against somebody. Sucks that it's early in the morning or whatever, because maybe it doesn't get the highlight. And it's not going to be as big of fights because it's early in the morning. But I mean, I watch great NFL at noon. I watch games at noon, so it doesn't matter what time it's on. There's still great fights. Still great fights going on in this card. What else is on this card? What else can we talk about on the card, guys? It's been a crazy week. I've had a lot of ups and downs and emotions and what to do with the show and where to go with everything. And the fighter spotlight or coach showcase thing that I was doing with it. We're going to bring back in some more showcases, but we'll go over it again. The showcase fights to watch: Hua versus Smith, Teixeira versus Anderson, Tiburo versus Struve. Those are your fights to watch that changed the division. Your fighters to watch will be Mech and Tibura. So you got one co-main event for the early prelims and one main card fight that are fighters I would look at and be like, ooh. There's one in the early card prelims, Manny Bermudez. He's a 12-0 guy. He's got a lot of submissions. His name is the Bermudez Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle submission. So don't sleep on that early on in the card. Way early. It's like 10:30 in the morning here, I believe. Yeah, 10:30 Eastern. So 7:30 in Pacific. It's super early in the morning. But don't sleep on those cards either, those fights either, guys. Absolutely amazing. They're going to be amazing fights. Undefeated guys. They're just not well known, but I think that there could be a sleeper in there. And normally these undercards are better anyway because they're hungry. They're fighting for something. They're not as afraid. They want to win. They want to showcase themselves. So that's it for this week, guys. There's a lot coming up. You got a lot of fights coming up. We have UFC 227 in the wings in August. There's a couple huge fights going on out there. But I'd like to stress this even more and more, guys. If there's any fighters out there that you want to see showcased, let me know who they are. If you have a good story to talk about, we're going to bring that on. We're going to break down some fights. I'm going to tell you how I'm feeling about the MMA situation in the world today. I feel like Bellator is inching. So they just re-signed Paul Daly for the fight versus Michael Venom Page in London, which is going to be their biggest card traction to date. It's got the most traction, most social media pull, most eyes wanting to see it. Young fighters. It's great for Bellator. Great. They're on this new digital format platform. I don't know really how it works. If it works like the WWE has theirs, where you buy and pay a subscription to this, and you get to see every fight no matter what, pay-per-view, it's not pay-per-view anymore, or you can buy pay-per-view, or you can get this. That's what I think the UFC should do. Instead of this Fight Pass stuff where I get to see these undercards, whatever, that's cool and all too. I want to see the undercards and the prelims. But for $15 a month, you tell me I get to watch the pay-per-views too? Sign me up. $15 a month. Bring it. Let's go. And then everybody else all the casual fans can pay the pay-per-view price. Right? Let's do it. We'll see if Bellator does that. I don't know what they're going with. And I don't know if I announced this already before, guys, but the Chuck Liddell or Tito Ortiz fight is 100% official. It's going to be happening. So, shout out to those guys. I can't thank them enough and help them enough with what they've done for the UFC and MMA fighters in general before. They're great fighters. Watch the fight. Tune in. I think it's going to be pretty fun. We'll see what Chuck looks like. It's going to be pretty interesting. That's all I have for you guys today here on the State of MMA Today. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, reaching out to me on Instagram, reach out to me on Twitter, follow, like, subscribe, all that stuff, guys. I would really appreciate it. Much love to everybody else that already has. I thank everybody that's going to be here and has been here and is tuning in. Thank you so much. As always, guys, I'm your host, Jeremy Roach. This is the State of MMA Today. We are out of here. See ya.